sir.
Guess I better turn on my stuff. Set this coffee. Call to order a special meeting of the Del City City Council for June 12, 2025. Joe, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Finch.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown.
Here.
Councilman Tatum.
Here.
Mayor Eason.
Mayor is here. We're going to move right along here to item number 3, collective bargaining of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge number 114. Who seems to be well represented? Hi, Walter. Discussion, consideration, possible action, approve with modifications or deny holding over the collective bargaining agreements with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge number 114, effective July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2026. Authorize mayor to endorse same and direct staff accordingly. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve holding over the collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge number 114, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026. Authorize mayor to endorse the same and to direct staff accordingly.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
So one quick pause. I don't have Billy here to check on this. Instead of holding over, do we want to say approve the updated collective bargaining agreement instead of holding over? That sounds like we're holding over a previous version.
I understand.
I'm wondering if that, ma'am, would you modify your motion to say to approve the updated collective bargaining agreement?
Yes, I will change my motion to approve the collective bargaining agreements for the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 114.
And you'll...
I'll second the change.
Your second.
Thank you.
Does everybody understand we're actually just approving the updated bargaining agreements? So We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's take the vote. Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Tatum.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. I know you're clapping because I read that well. Is that what that was? I want to say at this time, we appreciate what you guys do. We wouldn't be a city without you. The main purpose of organizing citizens together as a city is to provide protection and services to the citizens. And you guys are obviously the point of the spear, and we appreciate what you do. Thank you for what you do. Give the police officers a round of applause. Moving right along. Item number 4 is resolution budget fiscal year 2025-2026. We're going to do the public hearing portion first. Item A is public hearing, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval, and I holding a public hearing regarding the general fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2026. Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Tatum.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public hearing portion is now open. City Manager, you want to start us off?
Yes, sir. So with the budget being complete this year, we're looking at the general fund specifically and some of the special funds that come along with it. The biggest thing to know about the general fund, which is Fund 01, this year we are taking $1 million from the Municipal Services Authority, which would be their profits if you look at the terminology to move over, and we are going to be borrowing a $500,000 loan from the Neighborhood Enhancement Fund 35 to be able to be fiscally connected for this one. The goal for the general fund is to not have to take money from any of the future funds in future years. And so one of the things that we are going to be working on and bringing to you some solutions of what we can do to either change the revenue streams that we currently have or anything else that we can do to prevent us from ever having to do a borrow. The more money that we take away from the MSA, the less the MSA has the ability to do the upgrades to infrastructure, equipment, projects, things that they need to do. So while it has been a practice that has been done many years, many cities, what have you, it is our goal and my administration's goal to stop that requirement and be able to get the general fund to withstand on its own. So as a reminder, all of the revenues that are coming in, I base on a 3-year averaging. There are multiple ways that you can project revenue. I base mine off the 3 previous fiscal years and give an averaging, so that's where you'll see on our taxes, licenses, intergovernmental, et cetera. And then everything when it comes to expenses is based off of the most recent information that we have available, the previous fiscal year and the current fiscal year we're in. The biggest thing to show is revenue is up anywhere between 0 to 2% every year. Operational costs are up 20%. That is where some of these things have come overarching. The terminology that Kelly and I have worked on is the term the COVID high. During the COVID high, as you can see in some of your original budgets, when you look at the past numbers, we had a lot of money given to us from the federal government, different entities, grants, organizations, things of that nature that had inflated that general fund budget. Now that those monies are completely expended, the projects are done, we are now down to the true sales tax and the taxes are the things that we bring in. So we are going to be looking for ways to change revenue and cut expenses where appropriate.
I would like to especially call attention to the fact that we are borrowing money from ourselves. The money, the way the budget works is we have silos of money. We have money that is set aside for drainage. We have money that is set aside for economic development. We have money that's, and we have all these set aside funds. I don't want anybody to get the impression that Dale City is going broke, or is having financial difficulties. It's an interdepartmental thing. We're transferring money from one department to another department internally. So I just want to clarify and make sure everyone understands. We have money, we have to shift money, we have to borrow money from one silo to feed another silo. That's what we're doing, and it's an internal thing only.
Right. The goal is to not ever have to do that. With the way that the votes have gone, the taxation laws are written, we have funds of money in different pots, depending on what codes and conversations and things that you call them, that are only available for those items. So if I'm to borrow the money that we're doing in this year, it does have to be returned. It's not just a gift or anything of that nature. And that is what we are trying to do, is to be able to use those silos to their fullest extent of what they can do, and then have it with the general fund, because whenever you use the word broke is not the appropriate terminology. We're not going bankrupt, we're not there yet, but if the general fund can, yet was the bad word, sorry, not the right word. But the general fund has to be able to sustain itself as all the other silos can sustain themselves, and that is what we are working toward, is to get the general fund to be able to sustain itself without the need of any other funding source or assistance.
This whole thing is a problem that has been inherited because of the historical nature of the accounting systems and the processes in the past. We have since improved our processes, and we're making better traction at reducing this for the future. So we're moving forward, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It's getting better, folks. It's getting better. Okay, is there anybody else? Wow. Did you pay the light bill?
One of our cost-saving measures. Thank you, Officer Gray. That's a great point.
Pam, you have anything you'd like to say about this?
No, I do appreciate the fact that the funds are now being used correctly out of each line item. Economic development is paying for economic development people. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. We've questioned the accounting for a long time, so it's good to see that it's being done. Is it correct? I'm not 100%, but I know that it's moving in the correct line of fire.
It's more logical than it's ever been.
And with that being said, I do want to give a huge shout out to the Assistant City Manager. She has been the one helping me quite a bit, not only with the understanding of the accounting at a better light, because that's something that she can speak every day, and the work that we are moving toward to get this city in a fiscally solvent situation is something I want you to know how much I appreciate.
Yeah,
Joe, you as well.
I commend the staff and the work that you guys have done. I know this last 30 days has been a real gray hair grower, but I think you guys have done a great job, and I appreciate that, J.D. Moving along. Scott, if you got anything you'd like to add to this?
Yes, I just want to say that I do want to thank our city manager and our assistant city manager and all of their staff for the time and effort they put into this. They spent hours and hours and hours of their off time working on this. I've looked over the budget. It is financially sound. It's a great foundation to work from, and I have a positive outlook on Del City's future based on this budget alone. But otherwise, I do have a very positive future. I see a positive future for Del City. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Scott. Claudia, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
All right. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to voice a comment, a recommendation, a concern, and address it to the council at this time? Wow. Okay. Josh, you're surrounded. You just need to be good. Yeah, that parking ticket. Okay, all right. Is there anybody else who would like to participate in the discussion before we go on to the resolution? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Tatum.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The public hearing portion is now closed. Move on to item number B, resolution. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny resolution number 06122025A, adopting budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 for the city of Del City. Authorize the mayor to endorse the resolution. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 06122025A, adopting budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 for the city of Del City. Authorize mayor to endorse resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Tatum.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The motion carries. Congratulations, City Manager. Your budget works. A lot of hard work. Let's move on to item number 5, discussion only, fines and ordinances. Discussion only regarding the issue of fines and ordinances. The reason we really don't need a motion for just an open discussion like this, so moving right along. I spoke with our chief, Lloyd Berger, about the cost of fines. He prepared a document that compared the cost of fines for running stop signs, speeding through neighborhoods, that sort of thing, and we compared it to other cities in the metro. I feel like we're lacking there, and I should have had you print that. You don't happen to have a printout on that, do you? I've got it on my phone, but Chiefy, do you happen to have a printout of that? That's fine, that's fine. Suffice it to say, we need to update our fines and the ordinances pertaining to them. For example, right now, if you run a stop sign in Dell City, our ordinances are written to the effect that the fine will be not over, and I'm going to pick a number and say $125 for running a stop sign. Is that fair? Is that a fair representation of a ticket for running a stop sign? Does anybody know? It's what? A ticket, it's about $125, in that ballpark. We're just talking generalities, it doesn't have to be exact. The point is, it's almost like an epidemic, people running stop signs, people rolling through stop signs. I live on Pearlway in Midway Village, and it's right off of Tinker Diagonal. If the I-40 starts backing up eastbound, people will get off and just blast down Pearlway. They almost seem to speed up at the stop sign there. And I know you guys are out there watching this stuff, and you see this stuff, and it appears to be a national epidemic. But there's children that play on that street, and going through stop signs it's just increasingly hazardous driving in that neighborhood, and it's people taking a shortcut. Now, I would like to point the finger at the people that live in the apartment complex, because that's what it appears like, but I can't say that for a fact. That's what it seems like. They take a shortcut to avoid that light at the intersection of I-40 and Sunny Lane. That's like a 2 or 3 minute light when you go through there. You guys are all aware how slow that light is. So they're bypassing that, going down that street. And we hear complaints. We see them on social media. We get phone calls. We get letters from citizens complaining about people speeding on their street. Vicky, I've gotten several calls about people speeding on Vicky. And you guys know better than anybody how the traffic situation is. My goal is we can't arrest all these people. We can't afford to put them in jail and feed them, and the cost would be ridiculous, and that wouldn't even be, I doubt that would work. We can't make them go sit in the corner with their nose in the corner. You can't put them over your lap and spank them. The only thing we can do to these people that are habitually running stop signs and speeding in neighborhoods is get into their pocketbook. And I feel like that's where we need to be going. I don't want to be, I shouldn't name Valley Brook, so I'm not going to, but I don't want to be a speed trap town. That's not what we're talking about here. But I want the streets safe for kids that are out walking, for school kids that are walking up and down Vicky and crossing the streets. I want it safe. Those speed limits are not posted just so we can feel good about ourselves. There's a reason that we put speed limits. Walter, you look like you want to say something. This is an open discussion. You can step up anytime. So right now, it's a bargain in Dell City to run a stop sign. I don't want it to be a bargain. I want to be known as don't go to Dale City and run a stop sign. Don't go to Dale City and speed through the neighborhoods, because it will bite you. And that's my goal. We're not enacting and we're not voting for anything here. This is a discussion to formulate a plan on how to stop and control some of these people that have no regard for speed limits or stop signs. You guys have all seen it. We've all seen it. We've seen it on social media. But how do we stop this? The only thing I can think of is get in their pocketbook. Make it financially not feasible to run a stop sign. Make them think about the ticket that they're going to get. And this is going to have to be a cooperative effort between the police department and the judicial system. The judges are going to have to get some guidance not to be so lenient. I want to be a city that you come to and you know you better not break the ordinances here. We're a friendly town. I mean, look at our city manager, the friendliest guy in here. And I think that's great. We don't want to be a cold-hearted city. But by the same token, we have a responsibility to protect the citizens that live in this town, protect them from people that speed through stop signs and speed through neighborhoods. Now, I can't tell you guys to go out there and write a ticket. But you tell me another way to get people's attention, to make them aware that we are not going to tolerate people speeding through neighborhoods where kids are playing, and running stop signs, and running red lights. Now, I got to confess to you guys, about 12 years ago, my wife got a ticket for running a stop sign. I was a councilman at that time. We went down and paid it. Never said a word about it, just paid it. But that woke her up, and she quit floating some of the stop signs. I won't say she never runs a stop sign, but it woke her up. It called her attention to it. If somebody else, and this is a discussion thing, it's a two-way conversation here. If somebody else has a better idea of how to control this epidemic, and it is an epidemic, please bring that idea forward. I would love to hear it.
I do want to start with one statement regarding the judicial side of about a year and a half ago, the state legislature passed a law that allowed anyone that had a ticket in a municipal area, and please correct me if you all have better wording than I do, that in a municipal situation, if they can bring a hardship of the financial burden that it would cause them to have to pay the ticket, there is options to dismiss, and there have been multiple people that have taken advantage of that. So if we are going to look at being able to hold people accountable in the way that's being requested, that may be something to bring up to our two state legislators, that law is a hindrance, or that ability is a hindrance to be able to deter. Because if I can speed past any of these fine gentlemen and ladies here and they write me a ticket and I go to the court and say, I'm sorry, I have a financial hardship, then it's basically, I hate to say it was a bad act, because it would still need to be able to stop the people that are doing this and get that deterrent out there.
Well,
and that's something maybe we should bring the legislature into in the future meeting.
I think you could approach that from the judicial side rather than the legislative side, in that perhaps there are alternative sentencing things that could be applied. Perhaps if, Josh, you're an easy target, sorry. If Josh runs a stop sign and gets a $300 ticket and he says, oh, I can't pay it, I work for the Chamber of Commerce, I can't pay it, then the judge could come back and say, well, okay, how about you just get your lawnmower out and mow a park, or mow a street, or mow some, work it off. There's alternative sentencing ways, and I'm not against that. But the only way that I know is to get in their pocketbook. And for that reason, I want to look at restructuring the fines that the officers can write tickets for. And I want to put a minimum fine so that when it goes through the courtroom, the judge can't say, well, you ran a stop sign, but you're a good guy, here, $10 ticket. He'll make it $10. That takes the teeth out of it. I want to say to everybody in the Oklahoma community, don't go to Dale City and run stop signs, because it's going to cost you. Don't go to Dale City and speed through our neighborhoods and our school zones, because it's going to cost you. And that's the direction that I would like to see this go. And Anybody else have any input? Is there anything? Scott, what, you look like you have an idea on your head.
Not an idea, just some comments. I am in 100% agreement with both the mayor and our city manager about what they've said. I would be interested in hearing from the chief or any of the officers present, if you feel like speaking, what your ideas are on about increasing the fines and the challenges that you have in the field with some of these people. If you see that they have some hardships, if you decide to give a warning or a ticket, how is that done on a personal level in the field? But I would definitely be interested in hearing some thoughts about what you feel about increasing the fines.
And if you have an idea about an alternative method of controlling the epidemic of speeding, I heard a suggestion that if you see somebody running a stop sign, shoot them with a paintball gun and let the paint dots be on their cars, and pretty soon everybody will be looking out for the car that's multicolored.
On behalf of the city attorney's office, we're going to say no on that particular option. Thank you.
I'm just saying, if anybody...
Yeah, okay.
I would like to add that with all of this being said, I think we need as much information as possible. I would like to see from, Chief was able to really give us a wonderful report last year of, with the new system that you have, of where things are going. There's projections that we have, and I think now that we can actually have a baseline, I would like to see how many traffic tickets are there? What is for stop signs? How many for stop signs? How many for speeding? How many for looting? How many for that? And let's see, have the numbers gone down or have the numbers increased? And where in that area could we start focusing, without immediately just raising the fee? I understand Del City is behind a lot in the way that we fee our community. We're very generous. So I do see that there is an opportunity and an opening for increasing some ordinances. But unfortunately, it's also leaning around like the budget time. So it also, optics-wise, it looks like, okay, how are we going to really start beefing up our budget? We're going to, get those fees up and we're going to get some tickets done. Obviously, that's not what we're going to do. That is not how Del City works. But again, I think that's why we would need as many facts as possible. And then we've got community officers that go to all of the meetings, and you guys know exactly where those places are that people run stop signs, because they are very vocal with you. I know in my ward or in my area, they always tell you guys where to be at. So, we can't be at every stop sign. There is opportunity to raise some of those fees. But before doing that, I would suggest that we do a study session. So then that way we can really discuss and see the numbers comparative to maybe the last couple of years. Have we gone down on citations for certain codes and how we can, improve those. And maybe it's also about investing in our signage and also making sure that everything is visible, that people do understand that there's a stop sign coming up, and that people do know that they are in a school zone. They need to also have the resources that we would give them to say, okay, I see a stop sign coming up, that light is working, the lines are looking good, everything's reflecting, I can see things. So it's all going to go hand in hand, but I would really suggest a study session on this, because I would like to dig deeper into those numbers.
The reason we're having this discussion is to kind of get an idea of perhaps alternative methods and to get the feel for what's going on. This is the start.
Paintball gun was not the one, and I know that we're joking, but still, I would like to hear more solid advice. Thank you.
So the reason for this discussion is to open the door to conversation and to talk about it. That's why we're here. That's why it's on the agenda today. And I agree. Chief, if you'd like to shed a little light on this stuff.
Okay.
help us
I
out.
believe what I just heard was Councilwoman Claudia Brown being the volunteer to head up our traffic safety committee. So
Oh, yeah, I think that'd be
we
great.
can
Put me on the board, man. Put me on the board. I will direct it. Give me some folks. I will do it.
We can put some civilians on it, members of our neighborhood watch, officers on there, so we have an all-around vision of it from different perspectives and see what we can come up with, whether it be signage, awareness, any of that, but also looking at the other funds like we have already and kind of see who's doing what different. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, and see who's doing different things in different cities and like that, and put a committee together to kind of move forward on that and keep reporting back to you until we can make a decision on what to do. This is an epidemic nationwide. This is not focused on Del City. We're all over the metro all the times. We have different going all over, and I see it every day. I'm on my personal car, whatever, and I just think it's everywhere. So I'm open to any suggestions, open to any comments, anything that we can do to improve this, but I don't know the true answer. We've got the motor officers out this summer, so hopefully that will create a bigger presence here when school's out. We have Ronnie Neal working on, and also Sean Hogue will be out there on the motor, so hopefully we're increasing that. When school comes in, we always increase the traffic around the schools. So I'm open to options, but
And I know that with your new software, you're going to be able to really see maybe certain areas that need more attention, or maybe we'd be able to switch from, maybe we've been in an area that is not, is not where they are, or we've already taken care of that spot and now we need to rotate somewhere else. With the software that you have now, I think we can really start pinpointing some areas
yes, we're
that
just
could
getting
be
started on
improved.
that data collection and learning more what we can do with it, so that's been great.
Yeah, that data collection, I think, is going to be most important to giving us those numbers on where we could improve.
Yes.
So, Chief, you got the flock cameras. We've caught quite a few stolen cars coming into Del City.
A lot.
Has that word gotten around? Do you think the general population of the metro area knows that if they steal a car and come to Del City, they're going to get caught? Have you seen any indication of any influence of that?
I haven't seen a big change in it. I think it's pretty consistent. I think if they're going to steal a car, they really don't care anyway.
Yep.
So they're going to take their chance. Anybody in the uniforms have a different opinion on the flock, or good, bad, otherwise?
Other law enforcement agencies are very impressed with capturing stolen vehicles, people that brought it back.
Yeah.
I would say I think it did go down a little bit for a while when we first came out, but more and more we're seeing a younger suspect, early teens sometimes.
For car theft?
Yes, and I don't know that that is on their mind, oh, I need to stay away from this area. I think we're just a 12 or 13-year-old stealing a car at that point, but we did see it experience a reduction, but now it seems to be on the rise with a younger offender.
And with that data, I'd like to see, like, maybe with our flock cameras, have we improved with our citations in a certain area, whether it be stolen cars or stolen vehicles? Is that a citation that we write, or is that something that Oklahoma County would do? Is that?
No, in a stolen car, we're looking at serious state charges. So you're not going to get a relationship between a citation and a flock hit. So generally, if it's a flock hit, it's going to be a felony, state charge, UUMV, stolen vehicle, something like that, and they're not going to show up on the municipal citation side of it, so.
So is there anything out there on the horizon that might help us, like the flock cameras help us locate, silver alerts, and, it's a very useful tool. I'm thrilled with the way it's helped and worked here in Del City. Now, Councilman Brown was talking about what areas are there stop signs being run the most. Basically, it's wherever there's a stop sign is the area. Is that right?
It is. If your major thoroughfares through the residentials, yeah, any of your major thoroughfares, whether it be Vicky, any of those, they're the ones. That's where it gets your most traffic.
Yeah. Is there anything out there, and now we're going to talk technology, and you're going to be the expert because I'm certainly not. Is there any technology out there similar to the flock camera that might help with the stop sign situation? Is there something out there that we might look at?
Not enforcement-wise, I wouldn't want to go down that path of enforcing it through, say, a camera, capturing somebody on camera and issuing a ticket. That's just not something I think we need to pursue.
Okay.
That's got a lot of issues still,
Okay,
so.
fair enough.
But maybe looking at where our traffic is. We know where our major traffic is on your major thoroughfares. I think it's more of a concentration on that and try to get the message out.
Have you seen some of the social media people talking about cars speeding, and they've come to the council meetings and stood up here and talked, can you do something, can you do, and I understand you guys can't be every place. And the evolution of the Dale City Police Department is very evident, and I think you guys are doing a great job, and you're moving in the right direction. And Chief, I credit a large portion of that to you. The major portion is you're leading these guys in a direction they need to go. This discussion, I'm trying to find out what can we do? Is there something we can do to stop people speeding in neighborhoods and running stop signs? And anything you can come up with, anything the officers can come up with, this is the time, let's talk about it. In my civilian mind, I think if I were going to get a $300 ticket for running a stop sign, that might make me stop just a little bit shorter, a little bit harder. I don't know any other way to coerce someone or to convince someone not to break the law. And if you guys have ideas, I'm open for suggestions. So this is just a discussion. We don't have anything solid in the works, but I'm hoping that from these discussions, and we can certainly have more discussions, I would be open to a town hall meeting if that's something you might be able to put together to get some people in. It is an epidemic. It's nationwide. What can we do about it? What are other cities doing about it? That's something I'd like to explore.
We have a grant that will be on the next council agenda, or not the next one, on July 7th. We were accepted on the Oklahoma Highway Safety Grant, and that pays for overtime for officers to come out and work traffic enforcement. We didn't have it this last year. We've had it in years past, and that takes officers coming in, working overtime, and they do nothing but traffic enforcement. So once that grant goes into effect in October, we'll be able to step that up also and get officers out there doing that.
What's your thoughts on after the officer writes the ticket and it goes to court and then it turns into a $25 or $50? I don't think anybody learns anything if it's too small.
I wouldn't disagree with you on that, but you're stepping into two different areas. You've got a court side and you've got
I
an
understand.
enforcement side, and I try to stay out of the court's way and let them do their job.
I understand. I'm just talking about, my main goal here is to deter people from
Yes.
running stop signs and speeding in neighborhoods. If they speed on the interstate, that's not safe, but I think that's the highway patrol, and we'll let them handle that. But what I'm concerned about, school zones especially, neighborhood, residential areas, and stop signs, that's my concern right there. So we're exploring, is actually what we're doing right now, is we're just exploring the options.
And being present, the officers being present and seeing that and having that visibility is a huge deterrent. I mean, if you're driving down the street and you pass a cop driving the other way and all you see is brake lights, see you the other way generally. So that visibility
Mine do
is,
too, and I'm probably not even speeding, but I'll still hit my brakes.
the visibility is a huge one also. So hopefully with the traffic safety grant coming in, that will help us also increase
Okay.
this and get some more awareness out there. And we can do some enforcement on that. Some days I know it's very hard, and I'm trying to not justify, but we average working on the shifts here throughout the day, 24 hours a day. You're average working at about 4 officers, maybe 5, one of them being a supervisor. So if you take, and your supervisor is doing his duties, and you take 2 or 3 out there, for the most part of their day, a lot of that is answering calls for service to citizens. That's a priority over traffic enforcement.
I understand.
I'm sorry to say that, but it is. So there's not a whole lot of time we don't dedicate. There are some cities who have officers who are dedicated to traffic enforcement. That's their whole job. They don't answer calls for service. They don't deal with the mental health calls, all that. They just deal with traffic enforcement. We haven't had that. We're trying to get that way with our motor program. So hopefully we're in the right direction on that. But that takes some of our tolls. I know we're not going to be one of these speed trap cities.
Don't want to be.
And so, but we answer the citizens' calls for service, number one.
We have to walk that fine line between becoming a speed trap city and being an enforcement city.
Yes.
And that's a fine line, and that's what you guys have to do. That's why you make the big money. So they didn't think that was fun.
Chief, do you have any opinions on raising the fines?
I think there is a need for it. Just looking at it, it kind of surprised me when it was brought up to me, and I said, okay, we'll get a comparison chart put together. And I'm not sure if you've seen the comparison chart yet or not, but it's quite surprising where we stand in it.
It's a
We are-
span. There's quite a
yeah,
span.
There's quite a span that we are very low compared to we've done all the metro agencies from Yukon, Moore, Norman, Edmond, all that. So it's very, very surprising where we stand in some of those numbers. So I was unaware that we were even that low. So the others have taken off when we've kind of held our numbers for years.
I would like to see a report of what the other cities are charging for different offenses, such as speeding, domestic abuse, anything that's on that list, so that we can get an idea of where we need to be. But also, not to take it lightly. I mean, Glen and Dell Road are two of our busiest intersections that is right there by the school.
Yep.
And kids play in that area all the time. And if we can keep, when I'm at the park, I can see people speeding there all the time. And it's not just at school time, it's all the time. It's
Major
just like they don't
thoroughfare.
care that stop sign's even there. They just keep going.
Yep.
I do like the fact of the community service issue. I think that if you live here in the city, community service might open your eyes a little bit to the fact that we do need some people that are out there doing it. We spend a lot of money for the SHINE program right now, and if we could do some of that internally with community service, I think that's a plus for us.
Yes.
Well, we're open for suggestion. If you or any of the officers that work with you, if they come up with something, I don't know of any other means to spank somebody than to get into their wallet. And if you have another idea, I'm open to hear it. Because the focus is to stop people from speeding in neighborhoods. I keep saying that same thing over and over, but I take it very serious.
I'll visit with the city manager and we'll explore this option on this committee and start with that and see where we can go with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So Jody, this particular agenda item is for fines and ordinances. Is this also for code enforcement also?
If you'd like to discuss something specific to that, I can.
I would like to also
note.
see a report what other cities are doing for
Code violations.
code violations.
Okay.
Yeah, Walter, step up to the podium, state your name and address. I've just been waiting for you.
Where have you been, Walter? Yes, I see.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Walter Jacks, 4832 Kells Drive.
Walter Jacks, 4832 Kells Drive in Ward 4. This is something that kind of along the lines of comparing our fines against other municipalities' fines for various infractions. I was just looking recently at several countries in Europe that use a financial model based on income. This is, I don't know if anybody in the United States does this, and this might be limited by Title 21 of Oklahoma statute that refers to penalties, but they have day fines in several European countries, so that the fine that you receive for running a stop sign or speeding or tailgating is based on your income. So Switzerland, I just saw a couple of examples where 56 and a 35 speeding ticket and a tailgating ticket both went over $100,000 because of the level of income by the person committing the infraction. So that might be blazing a trail, but that might not necessarily be a really bad thing. There's nothing wrong with leading. And I don't know how crazy an idea that is for an American system or a system in Oklahoma, which again might be limited by the content of Title 21. But that would preclude you from having to periodically revise your municipal code to say this is the cap on this fine.
I think we need to not only have a cap, but we need to have a minimum charge, because I think too much of that is sliding through underpaid.
It is, and also it doesn't, if a fine is reasonably set to be a certain proportion of the person's income, then I think that would limit the amount of times that a case goes to a judge and says, I'm sorry, this is a hardship. Judge could say, well, no, it's not. It's only this based on your income.
Yep.
So that's another thing you have to look at is what painful process is it to periodically revise your municipal code to address the fact that we're not adequately fining people for running stop signs and maybe hurting somebody.
You could apply the same thing to the code enforcement department when their grass gets over 12 inches tall.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. State your name and address, please, Josh.
Joshua Schultz, 4321 Spiva Drive, Dell City, Oklahoma. So just a thought on that. I think, Mayor, you kind of brought up a little bit, and I don't know how this works for cities and how it may or may not affect y'all, but sometimes in the legislature, the way they word things is no less than, so let's just use $125. It's no less than $125, but no more than $300 or $500.
Yeah.
So that gives them that leeway of, I mean, at minimum, you're getting a $125 ticket. I will say, so the legislation that the city manager was mentioning was House Bill 2259 that was passed in 2023. It was passed pretty overwhelmingly, but as we know, most of the time, the legislature passes things with very unintended consequences for municipalities and other areas. I would suggest a good friend of the Mid-Dell area, Robert Manger, is actually the chair of the Judiciary Committee. So that might be somebody we could talk to as well on just what the issue we have is. Yeah, you know, I completely agree. I don't want someone who has no money to be forced to pay a $300 ticket if they really can't, and it puts them in a bad position. But I don't also want somebody to be able to make something up to get a $10 ticket when they are habitually speeding and running stop signs in our city.
You know, we might be able to tie it to a repeat offender type thing. Your first ticket for running the stop sign is, say, I don't want to say $10, let's say $125. The second time it's $250.
Yeah.
The third time, get ready.
Yeah,
That might be something we can
something
incorporate. Maybe that's something we can.
Absolutely, and I think to Walter's point as well, a lot of the fines and everything are in Title 21, but interestingly enough, the what do we call this, relief basically for paying fines is actually in Title 22. It's not even under Title 21. It's something completely separate. And so that might be something we could look into and see what leeway we may have as a city to be able to push people to paying their fines.
Use alternative sentencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could be.
And I think that also, again, goes back to data. I'd like to see how often do our judges slide those fees? You know, how often does that happen? Is that something that is not really due to the fact that they're not out there doing it? Maybe, you know, it's on the other end, and if we get the data, then we'd have a better idea of where we're actually lacking. And I'd also like to mention and maybe ask Chief if obviously, we may not have an exact number on running a stop sign, but can we enforce other things like you ran it at during a school time hour to increase the fine on that, or after a certain time in the evening time, increase the time? So obviously you increase the fee if it's in a school zone, so maybe we could also do the time of day, around the school hours, around I don't know, midnight hour or something like that.
And I know
That is something I'll get with the attorney and look into, kind of like you're speeding through a construction zone on the highway and everything doubles. We can see if there's some sort of overarching multiplier or something we can add depending on the
A
situation.
multiplier based on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've spoke about several things. My takeaway from this is that the general consensus is, first of all, this is a national epidemic, people speeding and running stop signs. Okay, and it applies to Dale City. Okay. Now, my question is, what can we do about it? how can we make it not profitable to speed in Dell City or to run stop signs? And that's the discussion going forward. We'll do this again. In the meantime, I encourage everyone to be thinking, look at other cities, see what other cities are doing, and let's see if we can. Do you have an idea? Are you, you look like you were just straining to say something, and I want everybody to speak out. Feel free if you have something. Okay. He looks guilty. No.
The cop, man, come on.
Anyway, moving forward, I think this is an avenue that we need to reflect on, we need to get some more data on, we need to study on. Well, how can we solve this problem of people running stop signs and speeding? And if you want to expand this to ordinances, expand it to parking on the grass, expand it to tall grass, all those things. We just need to be looking at that, because I feel like too many people are not trying to follow the law. Too many people are disrespecting our ordinances, and that's why we need to get some teeth in them. We need to do something that will make people more attentive to where they're driving and how they're driving. But I agree with the chief. Presence is a huge detriment. You guys out there in those shiny pickups, those things just look mean. So keep doing that. I appreciate that. Chief, you got anything you want to add before we close this? All right. City Manager, you got anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Then I will entertain, let's move on to item number 6, and I'll entertain a motion on item number 6.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Oh, to the MSA.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman Tatum.
Aye.
Councilman Finch.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. We are now adjourned to the Dell City Municipal Services. Call to order the Municipal Services. Joe, would you call the roll, please?
Trustee Finch.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Here.
Trustee Tatum.
Here.
Chairman Eason.
Chairman is here. We're going to move on to item number 3, resolution, budget, fiscal year 2025-2026. Item A is a public hearing. We'll take that first. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny holding a public hearing regarding the Dell City Municipal Services Authority Fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2026. Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion to approve as written.
To open,
To open a public hearing.
it's written, possibly approve or deny. So you have to make your motion.
I make a motion to approve holding a public hearing. Now you want my opinion?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Councilman, Trustee Finch.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Tatum.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries. The public hearing portion is now open. The Trust Manager, J.D. Hawk, would you like to start the conversation?
Yes, sir. So a reminder that this trust is what is in charge of our public works, specifically the water, sewer, and sanitation. So the water plant, sewer plant, sanitation department, utility office, et cetera. This is the money that we make is coming through all the rates that you pay with your monthly water bills that come in for both your residential and your commercial accounts. A couple of things to look at with this account. We have been rather steady in this program for years, and one of the things that has always been done is any type of additional funding, which we're going to use the word profit, any type of leftover money when operations is locked in, can be taken and moved into the general fund. That is, the MSA's job is to provide for the city once the MSA is provided for. I want to reiterate, once the MSA is provided for, and that is something that we are working on now. The MSA has many things in need. So as you all have seen through Facebook, and many times we've been a little bit late on picking up the sanitation, picking up the trash and things of that nature. We have multiple issues with the sanitation vehicles. We have a limited number of members working on fleet mechanic, and we have situations in limitations on drivers, whether we have an opening for a driver or just not enough drivers to go around. That includes picking up the bulk trash, things of that nature. While I want to commend Public Works Department, and every department that you have has been incredible working with the limitations that you have been under, not just this year, but every year previous that we haven't been able to shine a light on, that is something that we are going to work on, that we are working very, very specifically of what we can do. So a couple of items in this, just to let you know. While the budget is able to balance for now, the goal is we are going to have to look at rate increases in the coming weeks and months. We are the lowest in the metro that I've been able to see. Brittany, please feel free to, by far. Midwest
You're
City
talking about
just...
water rates, right?
Water, sewer, and
Oh,
sanitation,
sewer.
yes. When you look at our sister cities and things of that nature, Midwest City is always who we compare to because they're the closest to us. They get the same water from Thunderbird that we do, et cetera. They had to increase rates by 148%, according to a Beacon report that we read this time last year, and we are not trying to go nearly as high as all that, but we have to look at those numbers and see what is it going to take, because while I am very impressed of them being able to work on the limited budget that they have for years, they have got new vehicles that they need, they've got new equipment, they need additional manpower. Departments that have once had 10 people apiece are now down to 7 or 5 or 3. And we need to be able to get those numbers back up. So that is something that we're going to work on. A couple of changes we've been able to see. There are 2 debts that the MSA pays, one for the water plant from 2011 and one for the wastewater plant from 2017. We do have a special sales tax that goes to covering those amounts, so we are going to make sure those numbers match in the future, because from what I've seen from previous budgets, we have not given as much over, and the more money that we can put back into the MSA's operating budget to be able to build out, the better we can go. So that is our goal for this year and coming up. But we will have rate increase discussions. Nothing is happening yet. There will be plenty of time for citizen involvement, citizen activity, conversation, town hall, whatever those things need to be discussed. But I want to let everyone know these are things we are having to look at to be able to get the MSA the operating costs that it needs to be able to do business.
One thing I'd like to interject there is, it seems to me that we approved the purchase of 2 new sanitation trucks, garbage trucks.
Yes.
What's the status on that? Have they been ordered? Are they coming? What?
Yeah, anticipated delivery is fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, we have
We're hoping October is best case scenario.
October, okay. So we do have 2 new sanitation trucks on order, and we're hoping for October. I'm just repeating that because you weren't standing at the podium, and it goes on record that way.
And the goal is, as much as we are excited to have those 2, we do need more. We would like to have all of our fleet updated. We have a lot of areas. We're looking for an asphalt truck for our streets department, because right now, asphalt is seriously out of the back of a F-150. We have got to get ourselves built up and out of that, so those are the things we're looking at. I do appreciate both Chief Berger and Director Parrott are working very hard on the surplus project, surplusing some of that old materials to get a little bit of that money freed up so that we can move toward taking that. But you're talking pennies when we need dollars, and so those are some things we're looking at. But I do want to commend everyone for the hard work and the dedication they've had, and we are going to continue trying to provide you the equipment that you need.
I'd like to ask Brittany a question, and this is relating to, we went to a 4-day trash pickup schedule. How is that working out? Generally, I know you've had some blips with drivers calling in sick and equipment breaking, but aside from that, how's that 4-day schedule? We've not gotten any feedback on
The
that.
new schedule itself has worked out tremendously.
Okay.
It has been great for employee morale, offering that 4-hour Friday to, if they need to take off, they're only taking off 4 hours. It really helps our drivers rest and come back Monday prepared to start a new work week.
Okay.
And it's been very simple. You know, before, sanitation was the only person that could tell you what your trash day was, because it was mapped out. Don't ask me what the logic was there. It's been very simple and very great on the customer service side. Now you can ask anyone, what's my trash day? Well, where do you live? We're trying to tie everything back to Ward, not only to simplify it, but also to bring awareness and kind of tie the residents to their council person. Oh, you're Ward 2? So we're trying to kind of loop everything back together.
So if the trash truck breaks down, we can expect to see Scott in Ward 4 out there with his pickup, picking up the...
And I just want to touch on something, and I'm going to make it quick. But with the DCMSA, I know that we use words like profit and surplus for lack of better words. For the DCMSA, there's never a profit, there's never a surplus. There is always a need. And I would be doing my employees a huge disservice if I did not get up here and shout from the rooftops for them that these are the backbone of the city. We would not have roads, we would not have water, we would not have sewer, we would not have, and it's not things that are pretty and it's not things that are shiny and flashy, but it's things that we need. So I appreciate all of Public Works, and it is impressive what they've been able to get done. Unfortunately, it's not sustainable unless we make changes to improve the MSA. So,
We're working on it.
thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the council on this item? See none. Trustees, you have anything? I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tatum?
Aye.
Trustee Finch?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries. The public hearing portion is now closed. We move on to item number B, resolution. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny resolution number 0612-2025A, adopting budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 for the Dale City Municipal Services Authority. Authorize the chairperson to endorse the resolution. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 612-2025A, adopting a budget for fiscal year 2025 through 2026 for the Dale City Municipal Services Authority. Authorized chairperson to endorse resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Take the vote. Trustee Finch?
Aye.
Trustee Tatum?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries. Move on to item number 4, adjournment. I would entertain a motion to adjourn to the Dale City Economic Development Authority.
I will make a motion to adjourn to the Dale City Economic Development Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Take the vote. Trustee Tatum?
Aye.
Trustee Finch?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are now adjourned from the Municipal Services Authority. And Pam, would you like to call to order the Dale City Economic Development Authority?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the Dale City Economic Development Authority. Joe, will you please call roll?
Trustee Eason?
Here?
Trustee Brown?
Here.
Trustee Tatum?
Here.
Chairwoman Finch?
Item 3, resolution, budget fiscal year 2024 through 2025. A, public hearing, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve or deny holding a public hearing regarding the Dale City Economic Development Authority fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
I'll make a motion we hold a public hearing.
Second.
Got a vote.
Take a vote. Trustee Eason?
Aye.
Trustee Tatum?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are now open for public discussion.
Okay, so just a reminder on the Economic Development Authority, this is where we contain most of our debt. The MSA does have 2 debts that they take care of, the remaining, which would be like the Scott Street loan, the money that we have to pay out for the TIF district, and the 2019 series loan that was taken out in April of 2019. That is the money that you see here. This EDA fund does not bring in its own money. We do have an Economic Development Fund, Fund 34, separate from particularly this authority. So I just want to remind people, we're talking about different pots of money. But on this area, we are taking the money from the special revenue sales tax that we get, that was passed in 2017, and it rolls over here to be able to pay these debts. So right now, the debts that we're talking about are the Scott Street loan, the Series 2019 loan, and then the money we get from the general fund that pays the TIF district off of Sooner Road.
Okay.
Great, JD. Is there any discussion on this?
One thing to let you all know in the public hearing, thank you, Kelly. She just let me know, the resolution that's coming up next, it says 2425. In your next item, please change that to 2526.
Got it.
Thank you, Kelly.
Is this the appropriate place to make a bunny
No.
If we have no more discussion, we're looking for a motion to close.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing portion.
Second. Take a vote. Trustee Eason?
Aye.
Trustee Brown? Aye. Trustee Tatum?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Item B, resolution. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve or deny resolution number 06122025A, adopting budget for fiscal year 2025 through 2026 for the Dale City Economic Development Authority. Authorize chairperson to endorse resolution.
I'll make a motion, we approve as written.
Second.
Take a vote. Trustee Eason?
Aye.
Trustee Tatum?
Aye.
Trustee Brown? Aye. Chair votes aye, motion passes.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Take a vote. Trustee Eason?
Aye.
Trustee Tatum?
Aye.
Trustee Brown? Aye. Chair votes aye. We are now adjourned. Thank you.
As always, it's been a lunch meeting. Why don't you serve out here on the